GTA 5 Online is probably my most played game ever. I played this game day and night, grinded it inside and out, and I truly feel there isn't a game like it. So this video is made out of concern and worry and not because I want GTA 6 to suck. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Concern number 1. GTA 6 Online might be a paid subscription or have a lot of cool features unlocked behind a paywall. This one honestly scares me the most because if we remember what happened with the Switch 2, Mario Kart World, NBA 2K, and if we were to look to see how much GTA 5 made in general, that number would be over $10 billion. Billion with a B. And GTA 6 off of pre-orders alone sold roughly 39 to 50 million copies in the first 24 through 48 hours. So if we do the math at an $80 price tag, that equates to roughly $3 to $4 billion. Almost half of what GTA 5 roughly made off of pre-orders and no real information at the time of this video being made on what the online will even look like. The game isn't even fucking out yet, and it's done more numbers than Mario Kart World has in a year since its release, at least at the time of this video being made. Now you're probably wondering why I bring up these numbers. I bring them up because Rockstar knows how stupid consumers, especially in the video game community, can be. And I think all these companies are starting to kind of catch on and seeing what they can get away with, and every time they enact some kind of change, people just accept it for what it is and they pay the extra money. So truthfully, if Rockstar decided they wanted to lock their online behind their own paywall, people would still buy it en masse, and no one would give a fuck about spending a $10, $15 or $20 price tag. I'm sure of it. And that move doesn't just affect GTA 6. That'll affect any other mainstream game that comes after. If you make a big change to the market, then every other company and all your competitors are going to adjust to make that same exact change. It's the same thing that happened when NBA 2K decided to go from $60 to $70, and then Tears of the Kingdom did that, and all the mainstream titles from every gaming console decided to jump to a standard of $70. We saw Mario Kart World and we saw GTA 6 so far at $80. We can already expect that that's going to be the new standard, which is fine because, you know, shit changes. All right, it's not really fine, but we accept that that's the case. But imagine if video games started having their own online paywall. So now alongside me paying PS Plus or Xbox Live or whatever else there is, right? Imagine if certain weapons, vehicles, etc. are locked behind GTA Online Plus. Because if anyone knows GTA tryhards and how they operate, they'll do whatever they can to have an advantage over everyone else. And I don't know how well you guys know about GTA RP, because I kind of only know like the bare minimum since I've always played on console, so I never got too deep into it. But from what I have seen, the amount of money these third parties were able to make using GTA's IP and infrastructure is insane, because literally all of it is paid content, and the only real incentive to purchase anything is like similar to how things operate in NBA 2K, and that's like the status of having a really expensive car or item or gun or whatever, right? So imagine if GTA 6 just did a little bit of that. Worst case scenario, right? They lock the online behind a paywall or not. But what if they unlock certain businesses, certain weapons, certain vehicles, and things of that nature behind GTA Online Plus? Then everyone would be inclined to buy it, right? But this is just a concern, right? Because from what I've seen so far in its release, I haven't seen any mention of GTA Online being behind a paywall, but it would suck if really cool features were locked behind that paywall. The second concern that I have is that GTA 6's online might have issues with identity, especially if they go off of what GTA 5's online became. I know GTA 6 hasn't officially released yet at the time of this video being out, but if you know anything about GTA 5's online history, then you know things just got progressively worse with the shit that was implemented into the game. In the 2013 through 2015 days of GTA 5 Online, people were doing drive-bys with guns and sticky bombs. Client jobs were at an all-time high, and that was the way to really make money. And sticking up the local convenience store was an effective money-making method. And mostly everything was on the ground. Like you'd run into some tanks here and there, or you'd run into, you know, some tryhard stealing a laser from the military base and then trying to grief the server. But overall, the combat system and how people operated, you know, was relatively tame and less systematic and more just chaos sandbox, because there wasn't really much else to do. After that era though, we got introduced to CEOs, the MC Clubhouse, and businesses, and now you had way more ways to make money, so you no longer had to just spam client jobs and heists base to make a good portion of money, and you can do a lot more in the overworld than trying to load into a secondary job, which was good. But going into the summer of 2017, Rockstar decided to release this gliding death machine with missiles, and it changed the game entirely. This became every griefer's favorite toy, and if you try to blow it up because it was harassing you, you'd have to pay $20,000 every time for their insured vehicle. Now, to the tryhards and modders that had accounts with unlimited money, that wasn't a lot and it wasn't that big of a deal. But to the working man like me and my boys at that time, that was a steep ass expense. So it created a major dilemma. Do you destroy the bike? Do you let it go? Because every time I destroy it, I gotta pay $20,000, all because I don't want to be fucked with. And with the MC Clubhouse updates, you can become an MC president and access the bike from the interaction menu, so you can spam call it in as many times as you wanted with no cooldown at all, because technically it counted as a bike. You couldn't really do that with any other weaponized vehicle. Now eventually the cost of destroying a military vehicle dropped down to 10k, so you know it wasn't as bad, but it was still bad enough. And the Oppressor Mark 1 was the beginning of the end. Later they added in a flying car with missiles that had insane tracking, and then they added everyone's favorite death machine that can actually fly, the Oppressor Mark 2. See, the Oppressor at the time of its release was overpowered in a way where, you know, you can move around really quick, you had the boost, you had the wings, and you can lock onto things and destroy them, but you couldn't actually fly. One small little crash and you go flying off the bike. So there was kind of like a little bit of like a skill gap. You couldn't just get on the Oppressor and start wreaking havoc, and there are a lot of things that could technically slow you down while you're on the Oppressor. But the Mark II took away all those problems because it operated as a helicopter or like a plane. Or you know what, a better comparison might even be the Deluxo, the flying car, but it had a boost and it was significantly faster. And to make it even worse, they added countermeasures, the same ones that they added onto the planes in the Smuggler's Run updates. So you could shoot flares, you could use chaff and make it so that people could unlock onto you for a certain amount of time. Now you have a flying death machine with missiles that are better than the first Oppressors, and it can actually fly. And on launch, and for a while, like I'm sure with some years after, you could spam it in the same way you can spam the Oppressor Mark 1 with the MC President interaction menu. So imagine you have to pay a certain amount of money to destroy this vehicle when you're getting griefed and harassed, and then you can also spam it in with a menu. So every time you thought you destroyed it one time, they just call in another one. And Rockstar's idea of trying to make this thing harder to obtain was just to make it more expensive. But that didn't affect the tryhards, the modded accounts, and the business owners with a consistent cash flow. And by this point, I fell into that last category, so it didn't affect me too bad because on launch I got everything that I wanted. But it definitely impacted the working man and anyone new trying to get into the game. So if you were looking for work at a CEO and trying to do some headhunters and doing some VIP work to make some money, yeah, good fucking luck, because you're gonna have one of those motherfuckers on the fucking Oppressor Mark II coming around and blowing your ass up for no reason. And especially at a low level, and you didn't have any guns, you didn't have any vehicles really, what were you really to do? Why do I bring all this up, you might ask? Well, the answer is actually another question. Where the fuck do we go from here? GTA 5's online was only really able to expand to become cooler and increase their engagement by adding more military shit. It was really either things that granted more of a competitive advantage or things that made money making efficient. So in GTA 6, I'm imagining they're either gonna start off with a lot of the things from GTA 5 and add from there, or I would much rather see GTA 6 take on more of like this game of life or like street life approach. And one of the things I feel like would be easiest to start with is if you look at GTA 5 online, like the character customization and stuff, each character has these stats, things like strength, things like shooting, things like driving. And although when you max them out, there's like minor buffs, like when you max out your shooting, you get less recoil and things like that. But what does maxing out strength and stealth really do? You can do the same combinations, I'm pretty sure, at every level, and maybe like you hit a little harder and you can more successfully do stealth takedowns. But from me initially playing the game of GTA, I never really had an issue performing these stealth takedowns, and they're also kind of niche. Like, when do you really do stealth takedowns in GTA unless you get someone that's AFK or you're off the radar? But again, going back to the wishlist thing, I would like to see more character customization outside of cosmetics. What if we could go to a boxing gym or a judo gym, which adds depth to the hand-to-hand combat system? Or maybe having high driving makes it so that you can input certain button combinations and pull off some cool moves. What automatically comes to mind is like a move like this, right, that I'm showing on screen. Imagine you can pull that off in like a drive-by or trying to get away from an op. That'd be cool. But to do that effectively, we'd also have to have less of a focus on flying shit. I'm over the flying shit personally. Grand Theft Auto is supposed to be about gangster shit. I'm trying to see some gangster shit. I'm trying to run up on people and and run the hand. I'm trying to pop with like little pistols and shit like that, not the fucking RPGs and the homing launcher. That's what Grand Theft Auto has always been about, not a weaponized flight simulator. And my third and last concern for this video is inflation and inflated pricing. In the early days of GTA 5 Online, it was a grind to get anything you wanted. You'd be spending in most cases around $500,000 to like $1 million to get like a cool supercar, which was pretty tough to achieve because of the money-making methods and how limited they were. But it was worthwhile because, again, the game was a lot more simple, and it was only really like a status symbol because supercars didn't really give a competitive advantage. I mean, you can argue that it kind of did because you could go faster and traversal options were very limited. Because of the landscape of the game at the time, people were very likely to buy shark cards, which was basically GTA money, similar to VC and 2K or like any other game that has virtual currency. It worked especially in the early days because making money was so difficult, so you couldn't really grind the money out. Like, it just wasn't really viable unless you had a lot of time and a lot of capacity to play contact missions. So then as more ways to make money got introduced, it increased the market price on new releases. So now supercars at the later stages of the game were all dropping at like 3 to 4 to 5 million at minimum, and weaponized or military vehicles, fucking forget about it. For GTA 5 Online, one of the most recent updates, I'm not sure exactly when it released, but when it did, it was like a police roleplay type of update. So late in the game's life cycle, by the way. This is like an update that people wanted in like 2016, 2015, but you know, they released it like towards the end of the life cycle. Look at the prices on these vehicles that are basically regular fucking vehicles, by the way. Like, they don't do anything really cool from what I understand, but look at this shit. Everything started to go up. The silver lining with GTA 6's Online, though, is that we're starting a new game, so ideally we'll also have a new economy. Depending on what direction Rockstar goes, I think they'll implement and keep like similar methods with shark cards, but I really think they'll start to push some kind of battle pass or GTA Online Plus heavy. I mean, man, like, you've seen what happened with Fortnite when they released their battle passes and had their free-to-play business model. Every fucking thing has a battle pass now. I'm just saying, regardless of what the pricing of things are, I just hope that they leave enough legit money-making systems early on so that people don't have to feel like they have to buy every fucking feature nowadays. It's like a friend of mine said that also does content, shout out to Blackstar. Imagine if you go to like a fast food restaurant to get a burger, and when you ask for the burger, they just give you the buns, and then if you want the patty, you gotta add on extra, and if you want the lettuce or tomatoes, you gotta add on extra. At that point, it's like, what the what am I buying? I don't want that for this game, and I think that'd be a terrible thing. But if we're speaking purely off of business and how the market and the gaming community has been moving, they can technically probably monetize all these things, and people are really in a mindset of they don't give a fuck, they just want the things. So there's a lot of money to be made by Rockstar. What do you think about its potential online? Are you excited? Are you not? Do you not care? Let me know in the comment section below what you think. And if you agree or disagree with me and maybe have a different list or a different set of concerns, also let me know in the comments. I'll see you next time. Take care. Deuces.